Senator Kunish.
Mr. President, I move that further proceedings under the roll call be dispensed with and the Sergeant-at-Arms be instructed to bring in the absent members.
Any discussion? Seeing none, on that motion, all in favor say aye. All opposed say no. The motion prevails. Members, if you would be so kind as to stand. Today's chaplain is Reverend Sarah Morse from Hazel Park United Church of Christ in St. Paul. Members, and remember, following the prayer, please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good morning. Loving and gracious God, we are called to imagine a loving world, a world where each is treated with mutual respect. We are called to imagine a world in which people have adequate housing, enough food for daily living, educational opportunities, and care for health and well-being. With all this, we come to you, O Holy One, filled with wonder and grief, anticipation and regret, hope and longing. Help us to witness the love and hope we experience through the work we have been called to do. We come to you in this session with much to do, with deadlines, expectations, and fiduciary responsibilities, all under the umbrella of belief and deep compassion for a greater good, to serve and to acknowledge that we too are a part of something much bigger than ourselves. As we turn then to our work, may we listen for clarity and speak with precision. May wisdom of opinion and transparency of fact allow for accountability. May the presence of the holy guide us in our work rather than in name only. Loving and faithful God, we are called to live in love. May our words build up our community and serve to create a more loving and just world. May our actions help to bridge the gaps that divide us, and may these actions and attitudes be your words lived out. Be in our eyes and our hands, our feet, our minds, and our hearts on this day and in the days ahead. May it be so. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, members. The secretary will take the roll.
Abler, Anderson, Barr, Bolden, Carlson, Champion, Coleman, Swadzinski, Dames, Dibble, Dornick, Draheim, Drazkowski, Duckworth, Diedzik, Eichhorn, Farnsworth, Fateh, Frentz, Green, Grunhagen, Gustafson, Hochschild, Herr, Hoffman, Housley, Howe, Jasinski, Johnson, Klein, Coran, Kroon, Kunish, Kupek, Lang, Latz, Liskey, Limmer, Lucero, Mann, Marty, Matthews, Maye Quade, McEwen, Miller, Mitchell, Mohammed, Morrison, Murphy, Nelson, Umuver Baton, Pappas, Pa, Port, Pratt, Putnam, Rarick, Rasmussen, Rest, Seeberger, Utke, Weber, Wiesenberg, Westland, Westrom, Wickland, Zhang.
Members, pursuant to Rule 14.1, the following members intend to vote under Rule 40.7. Barr, Diedzik, Duckworth, Fateh, Hochschild, Herr, Howe, Jasinski, Lang, Latz, Liskey, Mann, Miller, Muhammad, Pratt, and Westrom. Members, a quorum is present. As usual, members, if you want to follow along, I am looking at the Senate agenda dated Friday, April 21st, 2023. We will begin today with the third order of business. Messages from the House. The Secretary will read the message.
Mr. President, I have the honor to announce the passage by the House of the following Senate file as amended by the House, in which amendments the concurrence of the Senate is respectfully requested. Senate file number 1955, a bill for an act relating to state government establishing a budget for the Department of Agriculture. Senate file number 1955 is herewith returned to the Senate. Signed, Patrick D. Murphy, Chief Clerk, House of Representatives.
Senator Putnam.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to move that the Senate do not concur in the amendments by the House to Senate File 1955, and that a conference committee of 3 members be appointed by the Subcommittee on Conference Committees on the part of the Senate to act with a like conference committee appointed on the part of the House.
Senator Putnam moved that the Senate do not concur in the amendments by the House to Senate File number 1955, and that a conference committee of 3 members be appointed to the Subcommittee on Conference Committees on the part of the Senate to act with a like conference committee appointed on the part of the House. On that motion, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails. The Secretary will read the next message.
Mr. President, I have the honor to announce the passage by the House of the following House files herewith transmitted. House file numbers 917, 2335, and 2887. Signed, Patrick D. Murphy, Chief Clerk, House of Representatives.
Members, remember, no action is required. The Secretary will read the next message.
Mr. President, I have the honor to announce the passage by the House of the following House file herewith transmitted. House file number 1587. Signed, Patrick D. Murphy, Chief Clerk, House of Representatives.
Again, members, no action is required. Members, we'll now move to the 4th order of business, first reading of House bills. The House files have been given their first reading and referred as indicated. Members, we'll now proceed to the 5th order of business, report of committees. Senator Kunis for a motion to adopt committee reports.
Mr. President, I move the committee reports printed on the agenda be adopted.
On the adoption of the committee reports, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. All opposed say no. The motion prevails. Members, we will now proceed to the 7th order of business, second reading of House bills. The Secretary will read the House file numbers.
House file numbers 2497 and 2292.
Members, the House files have been given their second reading. We will now proceed to the 8th order of business, introduction and first reading of Senate bills. The bills listed on today's introduction calendar is given their first reading and referred as indicated. Now moving to the 9th order of business, motion and resolutions. Members, we will adopt the author's motions as one motion. All in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails. Members, I'm calling on Senator Kunis for a motion to recess. Senator Kunis.
Mr. President, we're going to call recess to the call of the President. We expect it to be about 30 minutes, and our DFL caucus is to meet immediately in our caucus room.
Any other announcements before recess, or the motion to recess? Seeing none, Senator Kunis.
I move that we now make recess, Mr. President.
On that motion, all in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails. The Senate is now in recess until the call of the chair, call of the President.